Frederick.
Frederick.
There is a Fredericksburg. We live in
Okay.
Frederick.
Okay.
Where Mike, I think he doesn't live in Frederick County, but where Mike serves, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. That's interesting. You know him. And I saw that when I saw that y'all were both in the same part of Maryland, I was like, there must be a lot of going on from an REI standpoint in Frederick County, Maryland. So it's Frederick County, right? Not Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg is a different place. There is a
Okay.
Fredericksburg, but Frederick County is the largest geographic county in Maryland, and
Okay.
we live in the city of Frederick, which is in the county.
Okay. Now, I heard y'all speaking in a different language right before I turned my video on. So,
oh, that was a secret.
okay. Well, it's going to be a secret because I had no idea. So where are you from originally?
I'm Israeli.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been in the U.S. for how long?
We moved here in 2012, so about 6 years,
Okay.
7 years. And Kim used to live in Israel for
4 years.
4 years, so she knows Hebrew.
Nice. Very
Yeah.
nice.
It's a good secret language.
It
if you're
is.
thinking of learning a secret language to talk with your spouse, Hebrew is a good one.
I've given up on learning a new language. There's just because it's one of those things, if I don't practice it enough, I'll forget it. And it's with anything, right? And so we tried to do Spanish. We spent how I met my wife. We spent a month in Costa Rica. It's kind of a
oh wow.
Yeah, and so we came back from that trip thinking, okay, we're going to learn Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So
if you don't use it, it's really hard. I mean, we're pretty strict about speaking Hebrew at home because if we don't, I'll forget it.
Yeah, and y'all have kids too, right?
We do, and
Okay.
it's that they learn it.
Yes, I think that's awesome. But
thank you.
And it definitely helps. Oh, man, Omar. I'm going to call you Omar. It's not. And I know it's not right. Omer, right?
Omer.
Just like the end of customer.
Omer.
I know. And I'm sitting here trying to process that.
Omer.
No, wait. Just try Omer.
Omer.
Yeah, there you go.
That's
Omer.
fine.
So Omer, I think it's probably special for you to have your kids speaking in Hebrew as well, right?
Yeah, it was very important because I wanted to be able to communicate with my side of the family.
Yeah.
Also.
Which are still back in Israel?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
My family is still back in Israel.
Nice. So the way I do these podcasts or interviews, just like this, Kim, I think you said, is it Kim or Kimberly? What do you prefer?
Either.
Okay. So I saw you tag me in something you posted about this is your first, which is amazing because from what I've done my research on, you guys are killing it. Right? So, I mean, you are. You're definitely doing a lot, and so yeah,
we're working hard, and
yeah.
After a while of working hard, now we're seeing the results.
Yeah, yeah. It takes a while to.
At the moment, it's true. We've caught some momentum, and
yeah,
that's cool.
That's the thing about momentum. It takes a lot to get it going, but it doesn't take very much to make it stop, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. But so you guys are, I forgot where I was going with that. And this will happen quite frequently throughout the interview. Oh, so I don't, once you guys start doing more of these, which I'm sure is going to take off, right? Because you're on this one. But
I gave you a great review, and I saw since I looked, your number of good reviews has doubled.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Get that.
I appreciate that. So I've been on several, and there's been a lot that they feed you questions ahead of time. So it's a lot rehearsed. I don't like that because then I get nervous about, am I going to remember what I want to say for this answer? So so I treat mine just like we're sitting in a coffee shop, right? We're having some coffee, just talking about real estate or whatever, right? Yeah. Omer.
Yes.
So I'm going to give you an opportunity to make your wife shine. Okay. So one of the things that not that she needs that help, right? But one of the things that I encourage guys to do, I get a lot of folks asking me, hey, how do I start? What do I look at? And the first question I ask them is, if they're married or have a fiance, are they on board? right? And there's some that the question is no, they don't want to do this. I said, okay, well, number one, you have to get your significant other on board, right? And Kim, you can make Omer look just as good here too, right? Not that you need it either, buddy. You know, handsome looking guy. So, but you know, that is one of the things that I press upon those, because I know we wouldn't be where we're at if I wasn't on board or if my wife wasn't on board, right? And Omer, here's why I want you to make your wife look good, is because I don't know how they do this. I think this is something they teach way down deep in girls' school that guys aren't allowed in. But I will be struggling over something, and I'll go and for days, right? And I'll go to my wife and I'll explain to her in 5 minutes, hey, this is what I'm struggling with. And within 2 seconds, she gives me the most brilliant answer, right? Or I'll be wanting to design something, make a house or property look this way. And she's like, no, we're going to do it this way. And it looks 10 times better than what I was thinking. So is that the same with y'all? I mean, I want to touch on the relationship piece just a little bit before we dive into the numbers of what y'all do. So how do y'all work together? Does what?
First of all, like you said, like we are working together. At the end of the day, we are a team and we have the same goal. And there is no way we could have done anything without having each other's back. The sleepless nights, the wake up early in the morning, the leave early, like you need to have a support. And I don't think we've ever been in a situation when you are thinking to yourself, well, I did this, so she needs to do this, like in the wrong way. It's like, that's what we need to do. And, you know, and we're doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, we each have our own complementary strengths.
No doubt.
So what are your strengths? And what are my strengths? How do we, I think we work together. We complement each other.
Yeah, very much. Like design, no doubt. She will say how it needs to be done and it will look amazing. I have no problem putting the kitchen cabinets. I have no problem painting which colors, how it's going to work together. It's hard for me to see it.
Yeah.
Only after it's done.
How long did it take you to figure that out? Because for me, it took a while. And I would get frustrated and eventually say, okay, we'll just do it your way. You know?
From the beginning. From the beginning.
Okay, so you're a lot smarter than I am. Okay.
Like, I just, competitive advantage, like I'm not there. Like, no, again, no problem doing the quality work, doing the right thing, no problem. Like how it's going to blend together.
But it's a very cooperative process. I mean, just, to be honest, when we were finally going to a new level in our business, a new volume of deals and whatnot, for the first number of years of our relationship, everything was by consensus. Maybe that it was the same for you or for a lot of things. Like you would just talk things out and you come to an agreement on everything. But then in business, it's about making decisions and moving forward. It's not about making the perfect decision that will not happen or that will keep you at step one. Ever. So you got to move forward. And so we had to learn how to just rely on each other for the other person's strengths, even if it doesn't fully make sense or whatever. Say, okay, but that's your thing. I trust you.
That's your department. Contracts, budgeting, underwriting. That's her department. Project managing, getting leads, talking to people. That'll be my department.
That's yours. Okay. Progress over perfection, right? That's the thing. Yeah, because if you wait to do it perfectly, you'll never do it.
A long time.
Yeah,
nobody can promise it will be perfect. So.
Yeah, and it's okay to fail, right? It's
just, you earn or learn, absolutely.
Earn or learn. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, you learn the most from your failures, and then you just okay to fail as long as you learn from it and you take it and you just move on.
It's just one of those, and that's another thing when I talk to, I wouldn't say mentees, but people who are wanting to get in, they're scared, right? They're scared of what if I lose money? Well, that's a possibility, right? It is an investment. What you need to focus on is managing that risk and only taking on the risk that you can consume, right? And sometimes it still doesn't hit home with them. Like, I just don't want to lose money. I was like, okay, well, let's talk about how much money you've lost in the stock market. Oh yeah. Well, let's talk about that. I don't know. You guys may do stocks. I don't know.
Well, yeah, we have money invested as well.
A little bit.
That's her department. So I was like, I don't know.
We don't do a lot of active investing in that, but you mentioned I heard last night in some stuff we were listening to of yours, that one of your requirements is reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Of course, we both read it, changed our lives. Also read some other Kiyosaki stuff. But I'm pretty sure that he mentioned putting all of your money into just real estate or other businesses and not even doing the market at all, or certainly not doing retirement accounts.
Yeah.
And I shut down our contributions to our retirement accounts for a while, but it made me really nervous. Like, because I don't know. So we still kind of diversify a bit.
Yeah. I have a hard time with the contribution accounts too. Now I will match what the company matches.
Oh,
that's free money.
That's free money, right?
Yeah.
And that's about it. Hang 1 second. I got to do something that's really bothering me. Hang on 1 second.
Baduk.
I had to turn off that light. It was whitewashing me. I mean, I know I'm pale by comparison to you two, but I was like, I look like a ghost right now. But anyway, so one of the things I remember seeing about Kim, I think you posted, which you're a member of the Real Estate Investing for the W-2 Employee Facebook group.
I am.
That really long, wordy Facebook group.
That's also your department.
Love it or hate it, it's a sharp tool.
I see how the relationship works. That's awesome. That's incredible. That's awesome. But you posted something about it took you guys 4 years, or you've been investing for 4 years, but it took you 1.5 years to find your first property, right? And now y'all are up to 25 deals. So I want to get into the breakdown of those 25 deals. Maybe it's more by now, but what were you guys doing before you bought that first property? Like you said, at some point in time, you guys were both W-2 employees, but you're a realtor now, right? And is that right?
Yes, a realtor, and have online business, and very active in our business, especially the real estate businesses. His contract stuff, not so much.
Yeah.
But I mean, for that first 1.5 years, we got to real estate. He in Israel owning real estate, or, developing countries, a way to secure your wealth is to own real estate. Okay. And so in Israel, furthermore, it's so small, very high demand, low supply. So anyone that owns real estate or rental, like that's a key. That's an amazing thing. And for me, I was interested in being wealthy because I think it's efficient. And, you can print money. You can't print time.
Right.
There is more money. There is not more time, period. So it's the point of, freeing that up. And when anyone that studies wealth, you will run into real estate as a big piece of that pie. I'm not saying that it's, the main thing for everybody, but for us, we also love it.
Yes, I agree.
Right. And so for that first 1.5 years, we were studying. We weren't just studying, but we were listening to lots of podcasts, reading. You mentioned Bigger Pockets, listening to so much Bigger Pockets.
Yes.
When he was working as a contractor hourly, very low wage for another contractor, he was listening to podcasts all day long. Furthermore, we were going out and looking at properties. We were making offers, not all the time, because it would take us 75 years to think through everything. Because that's how the beginning is. That is how the beginning is. But we were doing it, and we were also trying to network with people, because, to get the right professional team, which is always kind of a growing thing and shifting depending on where you are, or who knows.
Yes.
But we're trying to figure out, okay, who are people that we can trust and connect with them and form a relationship with them and get advice from them. And, so we were making offers while also learning and just taking baby steps. I don't know, what were we doing that first 1.5 years?
Again, learning a lot, putting offers. Again, I don't know how strong they were, just because
we were conservative.
Yeah, we were very conservative.
That's the way to be, right? Hopefully some of them were embarrassing, right?
Yeah, it's just like, I don't think we really understood what needs to be. We didn't have enough experience to understand, like, okay, that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
Go and get it. To actually get it. Yeah, put an offer is fine. Are you going to put an offer that's actually going to get you the house? I think those are two different things.
But that's how
they are.
Exactly. Yeah. That's how we accumulate in that year. And
I don't
make the jump, like, okay, you know what? I want this, and I'm going to do whatever it is. Like, I'm just going to.
And when we first got a property under contract and made a real offer, of course, like we were so excited and couldn't sleep and like, oh my gosh, are you sure? Are you sure?
It was scary.
And if we were to visit that property now, if it were available, I'm not sure that we would buy it. It had roaches, among other things.
I would have offered $30,000 less.
But at the time,
yeah.
And now it's a well-performing property.
Yep.
You still have it?
Oh yeah, it's good.
Okay. So you guys, you do some flips, but you also do buy and hold, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So how does that mix up those 25 deals? How does that mix up? What's the mix up of that? How many of them are flips, or how many are buy and holds?
Our long-term goal is to have a rental portfolio. So we go back to Israel, we're going to have a U.S. income, and we're going to be in Israel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And using the flips also as a tool, because that will give you the cash.
Yeah.
And the competitive advantage of me being a contractor.
Yes.
And her being a realtor, of course.
Yeah.
And so for a long time, I also did flips for other flippers as a contractor.
Okay.
So that helps us a lot too.
You still doing that?
We don't have the time right now. Honestly.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense, and of course we don't have the time, because now it's better for us to flip our own.
Correct.
Than being stuck 8 weeks on someone else's flip and make less.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what do you say? Is it about 50-50 with rentals and flips? 70-30?
No, yeah, I would say more rentals.
More rentals.
And then the flips. But flips are a JOB.
I
mean, there's no question about
it. That's why I don't do them. They're a job.
Yeah, which is fine. Like, we enjoy it. It's great. But that is a one-time payment. It's not. It's a different thing.
It's a one-time payment 6 months later.
It's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. And like, I'm hoping for her.
And for those people who are listening right now and they're like, how do they not know their mix up of properties versus flips? I'm telling you, it gets confusing after a while. For example, my CPA emailed me yesterday and said, hey, there's 2 properties on your tax return this year that weren't on your tax return last year. What's the deal with that? And I'm like, I guess I forgot to tell you about them. Because I've definitely owned them for a few years, and I just now started this process with having a CPA. Last year was the first time I've done that. So I imagine there's an addendum that's going to have to be applied for. And I've got an empty lot that came as part of a deal that we're now under contract to sell, but I broke the empty lot off, separated it, and I keep forgetting about that lot. What am I going to do with it? So it can get, I haven't mastered the whole, how do you keep everything in view, right? Because you get so many. So it is a problem to have. I mean, it's a great problem to have.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So y'all's goal is to go back to Israel, right? So
That's
Kim, how did you end up in Israel to begin with, right? Because you're American, right? And then you moved to Israel for 4 years. You guys met, fell in love.
Yeah.
Got married.
We did. I want to mention one more thing in our portfolio that we just did a few months ago, and we're passive investors. We have 25% ownership in a property in Baltimore that someone else is managing. So I think of it like a note. It's not technically a note, but it's similar.
Yeah.
But anyway, so how did I end up in Israel? Well, I love overseas. I love seeing different cultures, and just, it's really interesting to me. And I was living in China in 2007, 8. I lived there for like 10 months, just shy of a year, 10, 11 months. And we met in Thailand on Valentine's Day on the beach. And there I was finishing up my undergrad degree, and I knew I wanted to take a gap year between undergrad and grad school. Yeah. And I didn't know where I wanted to go. And when I met him and his friends, I was like, wow, Israel's cool. And I love economics. I love trade relations, all that. And, I'm embarrassed to say I just didn't know much about the U.S.-Israel relationship, which there's so much. I mean, just incredible. So amazing. Fascinating. So we met and stayed in touch. We met in February of 2007.
8.
Really? Okay. 2008.
Pretty strong. I would have to allow my wife to tell me that stuff. I wouldn't correct her. That's pretty strong.
It is. And then I visited him in September of the same year. And then I moved to Israel, initially thinking, well, I'll get an internship, 6 months maybe. And if I enjoy it, then I'll figure it out and go from there and figure out, where I'm going to go to grad school. And I was considering a lot of stuff. I wanted it to be a good program for grad school. I wanted it to be somewhere that I could do a lot with the professors, what the projects they're doing at a graduate level, it can really enhance your own studies. And I didn't want to take on loads and loads of debt. I really want to go to London School of Economics, but it's just so expensive, Anyways, so got a fellowship to stay in Israel, and, we were together. Mm-hmm. And then anyway, our son, who's our oldest child, was born 7 years after the day we met on Valentine's Day in 2015.
Wow.
So that's cute.
Yeah, that's an awesome story.
Yeah. But Israel is awesome. If anyone is thinking of visiting it, I mean, it's sunny. It's warm. The food is so high quality. The people are just fun and direct, that's for sure. But it's awesome, and they look good, and there's beaches everywhere, and just but it's very, very expensive. Very expensive.
This is still the land of opportunities, right?
It really is.
The U.S. is still the land of opportunities.
Think about just the size of the U.S. market, 330 million people, the largest currency block. We're basically a quasi-island. I mean, we have so much going on here. What percentage of the U.S. market do you need to be a billionaire? I would guess it's less than 1%.
I don't know.
What the heck you're doing?
I never even thought about that, which you just threw out a bunch of terms that really show your economic background. Is that what your master's was in?
No, my master's is in political science. My undergrad is in economics.
Okay. That's a great question. Which is kind of like the financial freedom number, right? Is how much do you need? How many units do y'all need to officially pick up everything and move?
Well, before we knew anything, we thought, well, we just need like 3 properties, and then we're good.
3?
17.
Oh,
17
no,
doors.
No. We start with 3. And then we thought, well, we're going to make $500 on every door. So we need 17. We're going to have $100,000 in passive income.
Yeah.
And then you think to yourself, oh, hold on, I need to pay like income tax. And I need to pay rounded. So suddenly it's 34.
No. That was not the problem. The problem was the 17 doors. Whoa. Let's back this up. The 17 doors was based on netting like $500 a door.
Yeah, which is like insane in our area.
That's not.
Yeah, if you can get that, I'm coming up. I'm going to spend some time with you guys and and we're gonna go knock some doors down for sure.
I think we need 50, and we are almost at 20.
You said 50 or 150?
50.
Okay.
Well, but it changes all the time. I mean, especially over the last 6 months and this year, I'm really focused on our lifestyle where we're succeeding, we're moving forward. But now I've heard you mention on some of your other podcasts, kids change the game. I am no longer willing to accept a level of stress as their mother to present that version of me to themselves while they're such, so raw in their youth.
Yeah.
So then they grow up as little stress balls. We don't need that. And we're doing our thing. Like, believe, take action. It'll work out.
Yeah.
But believe and take action. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you're right. As you get into, I just released a podcast yesterday. It was titled Forever Home and Dream Home are absolutely obnoxious because I just don't think on that level. My wife, luckily, she doesn't think on that level because as you go through different chapters in your life, it's going to change. And you guys are so cute. You're even sharing water bottles right now. That's awesome. But, as you progress and I think my wife and we've got to stop having kids before we figure out our financial freedom.
Is number 4 on the way?
No, number 3 is on the way. He or she will be here in a few weeks. So, it's just I know there's going to be an amazing dynamic shift once it arrives. And, we don't know what that looks like yet. So
let us know. Let us know. I'm curious to know.
Tell us the good stuff.
Tell us the truth.
Yeah, y'all have 2?
We have 2, and one of us is perfectly okay with it. And one of us maybe wants some more kids.
All right, which one wants more?
Well, our daughter is now 15, 16 months old.
Okay.
Which that is like the glory period of the little babies. They are Yeah, oh my gosh, and she is just a joy.
Yeah.
So, I'm a little delirious right now with that.
Yeah.
We got to do it before she turns the corner. Anyway, that's what the podcast is about, right?
Okay.
Omer's like, well, if we wait till she turns the corner, maybe you'll change your mind.
Just a little longer. Just a little longer.
Well, yeah. So our daughter just turned 2. Our son is 4. And before I walked in my office to start this, he told me that I look like an old cup of coffee. I don't even know what that I don't even know what that means.
Oh my God.
I was sitting there making coffee, trying to get things going. He goes, Daddy, you look like an old cup of coffee.
That's so cute.
Anyway,
that's
so your daughter is 50 months. How old is your son?
4.
4. Okay, so we're in the same boat. So similar.
Very much.
That's why you let us know.
Okay. Is that a man code thing?
Just let us know.
Okay.
Well, but getting back into like reality and dealing with life phases. So just 2 days ago, we went and visited a preschool. We visited several preschools. Our son is still at his like private daycare.
Yeah.
But he should go to preschool. And finally, we found one that we love. It's just right, and it's going to, if we did full time like he is now, it would double the cost.
Yeah.
And if we were to send our daughter there as well, it would increase the monthly increase. The increase per month is $800 just for her. So, and whatever, it is what it is. It's just make more money. Everybody freaks out about expenses, about whatever. Go make more money.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. Make more money.
You guys ever thought about homeschooling?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We're on
We're the type of people that will do homeschools.
Maybe. I don't know, but let's hear. I'm
Go ahead.
Well, no. So my wife and I've talked about this a little bit, basically because we just love our kids and we love being around our kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of our friends who are like, yeah, they're going to school. Get them out of the house. They're going. But there's just certain things, and that we want to do as long as we start hitting these financial targets, that we want the flexibility to be able to do that. Right. Yeah. And I was talking to, I think it was last week, 2 weeks ago, I was talking to Gino Barbaro from Jake and Gino, if you guys know him, but he homeschools his kids, or his wife does. And he was talking about how it has provided them the flexibility of doing whatever they want to do, whenever they want to do it, and how it creates such a tight bond within your family that he wouldn't have it any other way. And I asked him, I said, well, how did you guys start down this conversation? Because my wife and I are having this conversation. We really don't know where to go, And he said, well, he goes, because he lived in New York before, or it might have been New Jersey, and it's horrible. I don't know that part of the story, but he lived somewhere where the private Catholic schools were just really expensive. Mm-hmm. And he said, so for us, it was mainly a financial situation. Mm-hmm. Because we just started learning that, once we started doing it, how, our older son can help our younger daughter with their math homework. And that just, creates that family bond even closer. And the reason why I'm asking about you guys is because if y'all are thinking about picking up and moving to Israel, how that may change, how, if your kids are used to going to a, 7 to 3 or 8 to 2, whatever it is, school, and then you guys pick up and move. I don't know. I was just curious if y'all thought about that.
Yes.
And who's going to be the teacher? and what language do you teach them in, or both?
Well, let's see. So my best friend homeschools.
Okay.
I really like how with homeschooling you can tailor it to the needs and speed of the child, and it's so much more efficient. You can be done with like the study part.
Yes.
So early, and like I take my kids when I can to forest school. There's a free forest school that meets 6 days a week, or maybe even 7 in our county. So there's a whole lot. As far as language, we're not even there. There's so many different philosophies. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's a lot. There's incredible resources today.
Yes.
Like there's whatever you would want it to be. There are resources to help you do that the best way. They're really. And as far as language, I don't know. I know that in Luxembourg, they know 4 languages because every few years school changes language. Wow. That's pretty cool.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, they learn English, German, Luxembourgish, and
something else.
Something else, a fourth one.
Yeah. And so that would be awesome. And as far as I don't know. But
something
like
to think about though.
Flexibility and so something. Last night, Omer and I talked a little bit about, okay, is there anything in particular that we want to make sure that we mention during this podcast? Because we think, something that's helped us, been said to us or whatever.
Yep.
Something that in the especially recent past for me, 6 months, maybe 12 months, somewhere 6 to 12 months, is just in our desire to move forward and reach very ambitious goals that are growing all the time, that I'm increasingly knowing and believing that, yeah, of course we can do that. It can be done. We can do it.
Yep.
Is being comfortable with not knowing 10 steps forward.
Yeah.
Just barely knowing the next step and taking it. And then knowing that the one after that will appear. You act with integrity. Don't be insane. Know kind of what your primary values and goals are. And then it's okay. The step beyond that will appear. Just getting used to it moving forward.
Yeah.
And so in our whole plan, the education piece, school, because of the schedule, because of the rigidness, that's the biggest question. I don't know. Maybe we will homeschool. Tell us how it goes. Okay. You're gonna have a lot to tell us about, and so add that to the list.
That's fine. You guys are an awesome couple. I think if we lived closer, we'd be close friends for sure. So
where do you live? I don't know that.
I'm at Pensacola, Florida.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, we're about 15 minutes from the beach. So
nice,
awesome.
Yeah.
No, you do.
I think we'd like to visit sometime. It's just not in the near future.
Yeah.
So, well, one of the things I wanted to make sure we talk about is you guys seem to be finding. How do you find and fund your deals, right? So number one, and Omer, I understand you are the lead generation guy. So how are you? Maybe this is a question for you. Maybe it's not. But how are you guys finding these deals, either to flip or to buy and hold?
I think right now it's a mix of enough people that knows us and know what we do. And we talk to everybody that we can. What we do, what are we looking for? If you know anybody that wants to sell his house, let us know. So we're getting a lot of off-market deals. We don't do enough of marketing.
Okay.
Now it's more relationship.
Why do you say that? Because I kind of get this picture that you guys are balls to the wall, just busy all the time.
That's a mindset problem.
Okay.
Again, we don't do enough marketing. We don't do active marketing. It's more now that people that knows us and know what we do.
Yeah.
That's at this precise moment. I mean, just recent, he was working in partnership with someone that, thousands of dollars a month, mailers going out. We've done that in the past, spent thousands of dollars buying letters, sending out mailers, but really what has come to fruition for us, I'd say it's kind of two pieces, just network everything in all areas, real estate and otherwise. Just tell people what you do. That's it. And otherwise learn what they do. And you never know. You never know. Yep. And that's the other piece, is that you just never know what is going to provide the most fruit at any given time.
Yeah.
Another investor that's local here that does a whole lot. He said that, for some period of time, he analyzed the whole thing. How much does he spend, Brian, per month in mailers right now? 10?
8 grand, 10 grand.
8 to 10,000 a month in mailers right now. And he said, for some period of time, he actually did kind of analyze, okay, what is giving me the most leads? And he said it was a wash. You never know.
Yeah.
So you just have to do it all to all the people.
We'll get phone calls from people like, hey, I know someone that wants to sell his house. And there are also agents that will give us a call and says, hey, there's something you need to look at.
Yeah. And so networking is the biggest thing, building those relationships, which is something I try to press on the members of our mastermind group, that, they have weekly challenges. And one of the challenges this week was post a video on your personal page about how much you or how you're focused on real estate investing. And I don't think one of them did it. And I was like,
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
no!
but it's just like a snowball. It's like now it will be a time that's, if I need something, for example, like, hey, I need some access to money. And so I'll talk to a few of my friends like, oh, you should call, I don't know, George.
Yes.
Okay, great. And I'll call the guy and he's like, yeah, I know who referred you to me. I already talked to him. I know that you're legit.
Yeah.
So here's the terms that I can give you.
Nice. So you are using private money?
Yeah, also. But just because like he knows, we got to him through someone that we know.
Yeah. It's all about those relationships.
We'll get better terms just because of it.
Well, but also, maintaining a good reputation, right? Act with integrity. Do what you say you're going to do. Investors got to stay whole. Period.
Yeah. Regardless of what y'all make on the deal, right? You got to keep your investors happy.
But that's how we've always structured it. Jay, what is his name? On Bigger Pockets, they mention him a lot. He wrote the book on flipping.
Jay Scott?
Jay Scott.
So I think they said that he emphasized this is that your equity partner should function as a bank. And so thus far, we have not partnered with anyone other than the property in Baltimore that I mentioned where we're a 25% owner.
Right.
We've never brought on partners where we've shared equity. They have functioned as a bank. We guaranteed a return. They collateralize. That's it. We've not done division of proceeds. Yep. So, and I think at a certain point, you do have to just, open the stables and you have to partner. However, to the extent, in my mind, if we can get as far as we can without sharing equity, I'm going to do it. You know what I mean?
Completely get. How do you convince your private money guys to do that? Because a lot of folks that I talk to, they want the equity as well, right?
Find the right private money guys.
Yeah. Just keep asking.
It's the right structure.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's also just provide a win-win situation for everybody.
Yes.
Yeah.
And your private lender, if you tell him you're getting your check no matter what.
Yeah. And this is your return.
Yep.
This is a guaranteed return. And
if I messed up and the roof doesn't need to be replaced, or if we did not make as much as we need to make,
or if it's a loss,
it doesn't affect you at all. You're getting your money. And the same, that's what we're going to sell to a potential seller. I'm taking all responsibilities. We buying cash as is.
Yeah.
No home inspection, no nothing. Like you can walk out with a check. As much as we agreed on, that's what you're getting. And you just need to find the balance of them being happy, sell it to you, and you need to be happy buying it from them. And the same with the relationship with your private money. He needs to be happy to give it to you the money. You need to be happy to take it.
Yeah.
So what are some of the common terms that y'all receive on your private money? Because I've never done private money before, but I'm getting to the point where I think that's probably my next step, Just on average, you don't have to give specific details or names or phone numbers of your private money lenders.
Well, we have been fortunate. I don't know. We've been fortunate that we've stayed kind of picky in how we will structure things.
Okay.
So we have technically never borrowed hard money because we've never paid interest rates in the double digits.
Okay.
But some things that are important that I try to emphasize to lenders is that it's short term, that it balloons. I will try to go to 5 years. It could be as short as a year, or he talked to someone last week that wanted 6 months, which I'm not interested in that. But
he agreed to 9 at the end of this conversation. He was like, I can do 9. I was like, okay, now we can talk about a 6 months.
The longest that we ever had private money before getting all the money out was 10 months. So, the point is not to go to that 3 years or 5 years, not at all. But so it's short term, has the guaranteed interest rate. And so something that I did want to mention is for listeners to keep in mind that it's all negotiable, which that would be an interesting post in your group to discuss the major points and kind of the spectrum of negotiation. But what is the payment? Is it interest only? Is it principal and interest? I mean, on a private loan or commercial, it won't include taxes or insurance, but what if it's just interest only? What if it's deferred payment during the time of the project and you just pay it in a bulk when you balloon the loan? Or what about prepayment penalty? We've never done a prepayment penalty because we definitely don't bring that up because we have all intents of prepaying. But again, extending the term and having the fixed rate for that term, and I try to stretch out the amortization as long as possible.
Okay.
So, to answer your question with numbers, I've heard anything from 7%, 2 points to 15% and 5 points.
Yeah, so points is another thing.
Yeah, so I heard everything in that range.
Okay.
7-2, 15-5, like everything there. 10-2, 12-1, 12-3, 15-5 was definitely the most expensive I heard not long ago. And it was like, man, it's they call it hard money for a reason, because it's hard.
It's hard to repay it, right?
It's hard to take the money. Not about repaying it, it's hard to take it. They even like accept it in that terms.
But also, what will they fund? We've been fortunate that the people that we've worked with will fund everything, 100%. However,
the purchase and the renovation.
Nice.
So, but you have to figure out what works for you, because, and it's all negotiable. It is all negotiable. Think of it as a blank slate, but as Omer emphasized, and what he's so amazing with and why he's so good at talking to people, is find the win-win. Get to know that private lender a little bit. What are they really interested in receiving and whatnot. So then
focus on long-term amortization as much as possible. Focus on long-term balloon, right? But going with the idea of you're going to prepay it back as soon as you can. So what does that look like? So you guys have held private money only for 10 months max. Does that mean you go to the bank afterwards and take out a loan to pay them back for everything?
It depends. I mean, if it's a buy and hold, then we're doing cash out refi. And so during that period that we have the private money, like Kiyosaki talks about this, it's obviously a very big topic in all real estate groups, is, we buy it at, let's say, 200,000, and that covers the purchase price, closing costs, and repairs, hopefully. And then after we'll improve the tenants, make some physical repairs to the property, whatnot. And we're able to do that cost effectively because he is a contractor and he has a strong network of subs and whatnot. And then a few months later, we'll go to the bank and refi it, which obviously they're going to have a loan to value. They won't fund 100%.
Right.
But part of our skill set is getting things under market.
Yeah.
Getting things off market, getting things at least somewhat under market. And then also we could force equity into it. So by the time we go to refi, we're getting 100% of our money out.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, oh my gosh, with all this stuff we're saying, I just feel like I need to keep that wood handy and knock.
You're not superstitious, are you? No, you guys force your own luck, right? And I kind of feel like you guys are just getting after it, that things are making it. I mean, it's happening, right? You've been building this momentum for 4 years. It's not going to fall off the face of the earth, right?
And just acting with integrity, having good relationships. And so one thing I wrote down that I wanted to mention is knowing what your business model is.
Yes.
I mean, real estate is real estate, but like for us, to actually finish the last topic of, if it's a buy and hold, it's a cash out refi, and then the private money goes back. If it's a flip, then we sell it.
Okay.
And so the private money's paid off and we have our profit.
Gotcha.
But as far as knowing your business model, so we live in Frederick. Most of our rentals, with the exception of 2, are in Washington County, which is a neighboring county. I think that's where Mike lives, his partner Bill, their whole MDWV, whatever. It's more out that way where the cash flow is much better because it's more depressed. And oh my gosh, where was it? Oh, okay, knowing your business model. So what we have always been focused on is cash flow.
Yes.
So I'm not saying we are not even close to the $500 a door net. However, we have a minimum. Our minimum is $200 a door after debt service, after all expenses, after reserves, after everything, $200 a door, period. Nice. And we know that is, that'll put us into some properties that are less pretty, but versus like in Frederick County, our neighbor has been in real estate, especially in Frederick County, for over 36 years. He owns a brokerage. And in Frederick, he said the rule of thumb is for the first 5 years of a rental, you lose money until that's just how it goes.
Not making money.
You don't make money. And so, because here people are betting on appreciation.
I gotcha.
Which, it's just we're not there. That's not what makes sense for us.
Me either. Yeah. To me, that's another gamble, right? I mean, that's more of I don't know. I'm focused on cash flow. Mm-hmm. It's not $200 a door. It's more like 100.
500? Let me know if you have some $500 rental.
Well, the most that I've ever received is $350, but I paid for that property in cash. So my cash on cash return was really low.
Yeah.
So,
well, and that cash on cash return, there are so many different types of return you can look at.
Yeah.
For us, what is the most meaningful? I mean, there's IRR, but cash on cash return.
Yeah. So I try to balance a 15% cash on cash return and with $100 of cash flow after all the expenses you mentioned. And that's worked out pretty well for us so far.
Let me jump back to the financing. We also have very close relationship. Our goal was also to create a relationship with a local bank.
Local.
Portfolio lender. Just because they are more flexible and you know who you interact with. We're dealing with the people at the top of the bank. And once you're doing more deals, they'll be more flexible on the terms they can give you.
Yeah.
So after building the relationship, we have a few lines of credit, which is very nice to have.
Lines of credit, yes.
Yeah, which is very nice to have. That helps also with the funding of real estate.
Yes. Yeah. Any aspect of, and I think too, it's important when you guys took that first year and a half analyzing to figure out, okay, what are we going to do, right? Before you bought your first property. I think we
were making offers. We were trying, but
I think it's smart because I think it also shows that you guys were sticking to your investing criteria.
Thank goodness for him.
Yeah. So, because if you don't, anytime I've gone outside of our investing criteria is when I've lost money. Right. And I love telling this story because there's a fourplex not far from here. Guy was asking 150. I'm just gonna throw out random numbers because I don't really remember, but it was 150. Put it through my calculator, said offer price should be 70. So I called the guy and I said, hey, I ran the numbers. Here's my offer. And he had a few 4-letter words that he responded to me and told me and my calculator could go take a hike. Well, this was, So 2 years later, he still has that fourplex for sale at that same price. And I almost wanted to call him up and say, hey man, my offer still stands, but I don't know. I'm going to let him.
Send him a letter.
Yeah.
No, really, getting something in writing, make it like a yellow letter, have your child write it.
I think I've just talked to him a couple of times. He comes across as being very stubborn. He's not in a hurry. And so it may happen, but it's going to be a while for him. But the important thing is to stick with your investing criteria. And if you don't know them, you got to establish them, right? Which is an exercise because they're not all the same for everybody, right?
I also think it's very important to have a mentor.
Yes.
Because you need to have someone that you can bounce ideas, ask questions.
For sure. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yep. And it's important to be someone that you want to become. It's someone that share the same core values as you are.
Yes.
But it's not. Yeah. It's not someone that you want to have what he have. It's more than, I know people that have 100 rentals. I don't want to be them. I don't know if we share the same values, but a mentor is someone that.
I think though, what can be really valuable from a mentor is, yes, I think it's someone that acts with integrity again. I mean,
I think I'm going to label this or title this episode "Act with Integrity."
Well,
I mean, really, because a lot of it needs to be heard over and over and over again for some people. Because I was talking with somebody yesterday, and we were talking about how, I don't know, we got on the topic of being greedy and how you can quickly become greedy through this whole process. And you guys okay over there?
No, I thought I heard our children coming. And so I was like, all right, we should just be.
Is that like a tornado about to come? I was going to mention it seems pretty quiet there. My wife took our kids out, so that.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
We told them like,
get
away. Anyway, go ahead. Yes, acting with
But act with integrity is something that people I don't think they hear enough, right? And it's always good to have that reminder. So I'm definitely I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I'm going to title the episode "Act with Integrity." anyway.
Well, there are people that every listener, you, me, that they are monetarily successful, that they are very busy, that, you know, from certain perspectives, they look very successful. However, if you know that they're doing stuff that's, you know, not really in the best interest, or I don't know, that's just not, you know what I mean? It's just not right there. Just take a step back. There are other people.
Yes.
There are other people.
And I believe it, what we do. Like our rentals, we're providing safe and nice housing to people. Like, yeah, that's our tool, but I want to sleep well at night. I care about the people that are moving into our places. I care about the units that we have. And I'm telling everybody, like, I want you to feel comfortable in here. And if you don't, let me know.
Yeah.
And it's not just the bottom line. You're providing something. You're providing service. You're providing housing. Even the houses that we flip, I care about. Like, I'm thinking to myself, what do the new owner wants, you know, would like to have in this house? It needs to be, you know, in our budget, but we're providing housing. We, you know, we do something for the community. We're taking ugly houses and make it nice, or we're taking rental units and make it like nice housing for other people.
Yep.
What I wanted to say about Mentor, though, also is that it can be helpful to establish a relationship with someone that is successful in a certain area of their life that, like me as a mentee or whomever, would love to learn more about. Like a mentor that I am close to, you know, the thing is he's very, very smart. So he is a little abrasive or whatnot, but he's so quantitative. And like when I was considering whether or not to get my realtor's license, I was like, there are so many realtors, and really, should I add this? And he said, well, but it's another tool in the toolbox that, you know, another thing you can leverage to make money to. And it has absolutely functioned in that way. And, you know, them giving those little nuggets, they can shorten your timeline so much.
Oh, yeah.
So, and, you know, not that it's the best fit for everybody, but older people love to share their experience. And so invite them to lunch, always pay for it.
Yes.
And ask them questions.
Yes.
I think you just called me old. I will say on the mentor thing too, don't have just one, have multiple. You know, find, you know, people talk about, or people often say, find a mentor, find mentors. I think is important because you're going to get different perspectives. But ultimately, you know, and if there's ever a disagreement on an action you should take, then it's up to you to make that decision. Right. Or find another opinion that's going to push you down the path that you think you need to go. But, you know, I've talked to several people, you know, the Friday podcast is me mentoring other folks. And that's why I think you call me old, but it's because I love telling my stories and talking to these guys and telling them, hey, here's what I did. Here's what I learned from it. Or here's what was successful.
Well, but that's awesome. Not all young people are willing to open the kimono that way. And I mean, I guess for the most part or completely, they should be. And older people, they know enough. Like they're willing to do more. But the fact that you are, it's incredible.
Yeah.
That's amazing integrity.
Act with amazing integrity. That's the new title. I love it. You guys are fun. You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Do what now?
Will you homeschool our kids?
I was thinking about it. You're always thinking about it. I was like, if he does, letting us know what's going to send our kids.
Yeah. You guys willing to move to Florida?
Zoom is excellent.
It is.
Yeah. All good.
Can you virtually homeschool your children?
If the kids will pay attention.
Yeah, that would be difficult. I don't know. That'd be difficult.
I'm sure you'll figure it out.
Yeah, try it and let us know.
I'm hearing a lot of that. I like it. So speaking of your kids, do y'all introduce them, even at their young ages, do y'all introduce them to that, you know, what y'all do for a living to try to get them to have the real estate bug or just generational wealth bug? Do y'all?
I think Eitan knows we have a few houses.
Okay.
Eitan, 4 years, he knows that we have a few houses because he asked me where I go in the morning. I was like, well, I'm going to this flip. Oh, okay. Or, you know, I'm going to this rental. That's okay. Yeah. But I really, you know, when he will get older, we'll try to teach him as much as possible. He will see what we do, but even a different mindset of like, yeah, you don't have to have 9-to-5 job.
Yeah.
You know? that's something that can be done. Like I would like to teach him everything that I know.
Multiple income streams.
Yep. And I wish that I would have known, I don't know, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Don't we all, right?
He can make his decision, but I would like to give him all the tools that we have.
Yeah.
And then make a decision, be happy. But at least, that's more, it's another thing that you need to know. There is more than just 9 to 5.
Did y'all's parents pressure you to get that 9 to 5 good job? So Kim shaking her head yes, Omer saying no. So my parents did. Did I say your name wrong? I did, didn't I? Oh, okay. So I'm super concerned about that. But anyway, so my parents did, and when I was talking to Gino, I said, look, the things that we try to teach our kids now are similar to what our parents try to teach us, but we're a different generation. Do you ever think that having multiple streams of income or having rental properties is not going to be the way for your kids to make the most money, become the most wealthy, even if that's what they're into? And if so, how do you adjust those beliefs that made you wealthy and is helping make me and my wife wealthy? But how do you, it's way far down the road thinking, but 20, 30 years from now, if things change, how are you going to be willing to accept that your kids don't want to do what mommy and daddy did? You
shifted the question between what if it's not the same versus how are you going to accept her? So that's tough.
Yeah, it's tough. So, because I feel like I've let my father down because he was a fireman as well. So that's why I love talking to Mike on the first episode.
Yeah.
And
was that your first episode?
Oh yeah, definitely.
His very first one, very first interview.
Oh, yep. Good guy. He's a good guy. I like him very much.
Yeah. And also on there was Captain Ryan Kenyon, who's and so firemen hold a special place in my heart. But I think if there's anything I've ever let my dad down is that I did not follow in his footsteps, because he retired lieutenant commander after 30 years of service, and I can't do it. I'm not. It's not me. So, but anyway, it was just. Go ahead.
With the tools we're going to give him, like he will know how to run a business, he will know how to analyze opportunities and, understand stuff like cash flow and passive income. And then I don't know if I want him to go, and have a bunch of rentals, but I think with the tools he's going to just have like more tools in his tool belt. He will find what will make him happy and what works for him. Not everybody likes real estate, and not everybody thinks that's the best way, but he will at least have more of a broad vision of what I can do and what I can use to just be happy. And that's the number one thing that I want for my family. I want to be happy with whatever you choose. But I think I want to give him the tools to have more options.
And that's what I think, when you were saying, what if in the future real estate or, the tactics aren't appropriate anymore? What I hope that we can teach it, to the best that we can, right, as parents. What I hope we can share with him is not, the what is part of it, but much more so the how. Just taking a step back and saying, okay, is this the best way? Is this the best for me?
Yeah. So,
because who knows? Maybe it'll just be them shifting around Bitcoins.
Who knows? Maybe.
Or maybe it'll be, but multiple revenue streams and doing what makes them happy. Real estate isn't the best for everybody, but it's collateral, it has a physical good behind it, which, is that extra boost, and the tax treatment, of course, but just having the thought process to think about it.
Yes. Yeah.
And then go wherever. And not accept not being happy.
Yeah. Don't be stuck in a job that you don't like, or investing vehicle that you don't like. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like your emphasis, W-2 capitalists, people that like their job but want other streams of income. If they're happy, don't quit your job. If you love it, if it's fulfilling, if it is awesome for you, keep it up. That's wonderful. So
absolutely. Thank you for that plug too.
I put a list.
So how do you guys reward yourself? And one of the things that my wife and we try to do is every time we bring on a rental property, we'll take a small percentage of that cash flow and we'll put it into a fund, and the rest of it still goes back into, saving for our next down payment or whatnot. What do you guys do, no matter how big or how small, Or do you do anything?
Well, so going back to the last like 6 to 12 months, we've been really, 2017 to 2018 was not great. We moved a few days later, had a baby. I was in and out of the hospital with all this stuff. And it was tough. And immediately prior to that, we were working so hard. So I had a very stressful corporate job. He was working on some very tough flips. Yeah, everything worked out because we kept our nose to the grindstone, but it was horrible. It was not a life to continue living.
Right.
And
thankfully it was a short season, right?
Because we decided to make changes, because we made decisions.
What did you do for your corporate job? What were you?
I quit.
I know you quit, but what was it?
Oh, what was it? It was low-income housing development.
Okay.
So we're always looking for synergy. You know, me being a realtor, him being a licensed contractor, and having that network. And so as far as the job, I wanted something where I could bring something to the table because I care so much about that mission and I love real estate. But furthermore, I'm going to be learning from it. The complexity of those deals is unreal. The underwriting is just stupid. It's
government, right? It's the government is what you're talking about.
Yes, there is a government subsidy by way of tax credits that then the developer that wins those tax credits resells them on the private market. And that's how they get money for their projects. Yeah, exactly.
Okay. You just blew my mind, but okay.
Well, it's just, it's very interesting. To be honest, it's the most successful version of a public-private relationship that exists. So people can research low-income housing tax credit if they're curious, but it's kind of fascinating how it works, and it's also, kind of frustrating. But anyway, and so now for me, and I think for us, we're just focused on enjoying the being present and enjoying the day-to-day. And like in the last several years, as I've been more into personal development and all that stuff, each year has had a theme. Like 2017 was the year of no. 2018 was like the lost year.
It was a lost year.
It was a lost year.
It was lost.
2018 was lost.
Well, you guys had a baby, right? I'm telling you, that's a big curveball.
The house we were renovating.
Yes.
And there was some hospital stuff.
And hospital.
Also, you talking about changes, you quit. I had 4 employees, which I decided to go like a different route. And instead of doing a lot like in-house, we have a great relationship with subcontractors.
Yes.
So that also freed me up a lot.
But 2019 is our year of traveling and our year of
buying.
Well, it's about doing more, but also traveling. Like just as he's mentioned, we see ourselves as spending more and more time overseas. And I believe in Israel in particular, and I believe very strongly that with technology today, with real estate, location freedom is a real thing. Maybe not 100%, but you can be, for the most part, if you set it up right, you can have location freedom.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of, to push yourself in that direction, sometimes you have to like jump into it. So we've scheduled a bunch of trips where for big chunks of the year, we're not going to be here, sort of forcing ourselves like, okay, we got to keep stuff going though. So we're going to go have a great time and we're going to keep stuff going and but also keeping things in perspective and having fun. That's what it is. Travel and fun. 2019 is travel and fun. So
travel and fun.
Have fun.
I like it. We're going to have a third baby.
And you're going to love it and you're going to tell us all about it.
Yeah.
I don't think you're going to be like, oh, homeschool?
Absolutely, yeah.
Text me like, Omer. It's crazy.
Yeah. Which it might be,
It's amazing. It's wonderful. And he's going to call me Omer.
You're going to say, Omer, we're outnumbered. Why didn't you tell us?
So with y'all, I take it your families don't live close, right?
Mine lives like 15 minutes away.
Okay, so
mine about 15 hours flight.
Yeah. 15-hour flight. So our closest family is like 6 hours away. So yeah, it's talking about being challenged. It's going to be interesting. Yeah. So we'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah. Whatever you want your day-to-day to look like, it can.
Yeah.
You can make Whatever you want to do, you can make it happen. If you're willing to work hard, you can make it happen.
I believe that. I definitely believe that. We're coming up on time, and one of the things I didn't ask for you guys is a way to contact you. Do you want to put something out there for that, or no? Yes.
For sure. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
So the best for me is Facebook right now.
Okay.
Facebook, Kimberly Ashkenazi. I'm sure that'll be in the show notes.
Absolutely will be. I'll spell it correctly. I'll link to your profile.
Yeah, for sure. And add me as a friend, send me a message in Messenger. We love sharing what our experiences are.
Yeah. And you're a bit of a foodie, right?
Yeah.
Is that proper for me to say that? I don't know.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, here's the thing. I think, especially after the beginning of 2018, when I was, in and out of the hospital, I've never dealt with health challenges.
Yeah.
And so having to deal with those things, it was a new emotional ride for me. And I mean, I've always been relatively healthy, but now I have a renewed interest in health and food and health. Have you ever read anything by MJ DeMarco?
Mm-mm.
He writes a lot for entrepreneurs in general. He's really awesome. But him and others, they'll say, if you're lost and you want to get entrepreneurial and you need to take that first step, pay attention to your health. You have got to have your health.
Yeah.
And if you have your health, you have hope. And if you have hope, you have anything. And food is a huge component of that. And
it's funny you say that, because I just took a food sensitivity test. Because have you ever had, either one of you ever had to do one of those?
A good friend of mine is just going through her stuff. Yeah.
So because I started having acid reflux like big time, and I think this is weird for me even to say that. So for a couple of years, but I took this food sensitivity test and it just verified what I thought was happening. And now I'm changing my diet, which is pretty, I'm like you. I've never had to deal with health issues or food health issues really. But now that I'm doing that and I've changed it, I've been on it for about a month or so. I feel tremendously different in a good way, and it was one of those things where I thought, okay, well, when I eat pizza for supper, I am up all night. Oof. And I'm like this, so I can't do that anymore. Then there was something else and I was like, I'm allergic to bread. Which it wasn't bread, but it's a lot of wheat and stuff like that. And it's not allergic. It's just, I want to make sure that's clear. So food sensitivity is not allergy. It is how your digestive system processes different foods. And some of the ones that I'm sensitive to were off the scale. Right. And they're like, you gotta stop doing that. Wow. So, but to the healthy piece, I completely agree. Right. Is you've got to focus on your health. And that's one of the ways. And I'm also trying to pick up the people who I took the test with as a sponsor for the show. So, all right. So
for you.
So yeah. On those lines.
No, with all of us. Okay. Oh, sorry. We have to take a picture for the story for Instagram.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm tagging you in my story. I don't know if you've seen it.
I have. Yeah.
Thank you. Everybody.
That's it.
At Helms REI.
So what is the most delicious way to prepare eggs? I saw you post that.
That was like such a killer post.
It was.
Well, what's your opinion?
It's got to be scrambled with mozzarella and cheddar, sharp cheddar cheese on top.
Very good. What's your opinion?
I don't know if I saw that post.
Well, doesn't matter. What's your favorite way to?
I just like omelet with some cheese. That's
omelet. All. Okay.
Oh no.
To each his own, but yeah, it was a popular one. It was
super popular, and so that's what I'm saying also about taking advantage of tools.
Yes.
I mean, I almost closed my Facebook 5 years ago, but now it's one of the sharpest tools. Even for real estate, no matter what a person is doing, just meet the people, tell your story.
Social media is such a powerful tool, and it's so misunderstood. There's, especially by employers. I'm having that conversation here pretty frequently. I'm like, look, guys, I'm having these conversations anyway. It's just, I don't know. There's something there that they don't get, and there's that misnomer of you're goofing off on social media all day. No, I'm not. I'm just telling you, it's a tool.
My goodness.
And it's amazing that we don't, in our W-2 job, in my current W-2 job, I say current because I'm probably transitioning here in a couple of weeks to a new one. It's a better opportunity, more money, all that stuff. So the one that I'm potentially going to, they actually encourage that behavior.
Yeah.
The one I'm at, they're like, no, can't do that.
People do business with people.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's exactly. And this is just a tool to show people that social media is a tool that just shows people you are real, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think the folks who get that, get it, and they're going to be extremely successful at it.
Well, and that's the value of like the Facebook Lives.
Yes.
And once you create a piece of social media content, people respond to things that I did weeks ago.
Yeah.
And I've only been at it for a few months, but I'm sure the same thing happens to you.
It does.
People love, like we met, actually a seller of property we have under contract. Omer knows her. I had never met her. And then we met and she's like, oh, I know you. I watch your lives. No, she said, I know you. Not even, I feel like.
Yeah. It is amazing because you never know who's watching because they don't always respond or comment. But there are opportunities where they'll come up to you and say, hey, I know you. You're the guy. I was like,
you're Omer's wife. That's how people recognize you, right?
That's funny. Well, guys, all right. So we'll wrap up because we're over an hour. And
it was fun.
I want to look at my list. What are you going to say?
I just want to say that everybody that is starting, you have a competitive advantage. There's something that you're good at. There's something that you like. There's something that, will drive you. Use it. Not everybody's good at everything, but play on your competitive advantage.
Yes.
There is a reason why I'm not doing any underwriting because I'm not good.
Yeah.
But I'll talk to people, which I like.
Yep.
I'll try to close deal, which I like. I'll try to find a win-win situation because I think I have, I like to think about the other side that want to sell me a property or do something.
Yeah.
Play on your competitive advantage.
Yes. And outsource what you can if your significant other doesn't fit that role either. Right. So Kim, luckily for you, you fill a lot of Omar's gaps.
Luckily for me.
Luckily for you. Yes. Yes. You guys are awesome.
Well, what I want to say just to wrap up is, like we said, mention it. Tell everyone what you do. Mm-hmm. And I'm not saying dump it on them immediately, but mention it just so they know. You never know when it would be of value. And belief, have that strong in real estate and whatever you're doing. Envision what you want your day-to-day to look like. Believe in it. Yes, you can do it. Get close to those people that are succeeding in what you are interested in.
Yes.
If it's virtually, if it's through books, but get in the fire. Get it, because stuff day to day that it's the way they're thinking, so that you can begin to think like them. And then one last thing that I heard recently that I've been just thinking about every single day that I think is just so powerful is being in the mindset of business as normal. Regardless of what is happening, business is normal. Business is normal. And just deal with it and move on. Just deal with it and move on.
That's interesting. I got to write that down.
Business is normal. I've been saying that a lot lately. Even our mentor, a guy that we're close with and now, friends with, he's done so much and he is so chill. And I remember years ago when we were all worked up about something and he was like, I don't really get worried. It's amazing. Yeah. And just move forward to, take the action step. You will learn by going through the process. Business is normal.
I love it. So people can link up with you, Kim, on your Facebook page.
Yes, Omer. You can go into my Facebook page, also Omer Ashkenazi. We have
an AKO construction.
We have a Facebook group of the construction company that we do flips and rentals there. You can see pictures before, after. AKO construction.
Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Which basically it's Ashkenazi, Kim, and Omer, just because
I like that.
Like that's, we're the base.
And we could think of it.
Hey, it's fine. At least you.
That's a creative.
And it starts with an A. That's supposed to be good, right? I don't know.
Is it?
Because then you're higher on the list. Like on list.
I got you.
On the phone book, when you're getting every day to call people.
Right.
So we want to be at the A.
Okay. All right. So there is a method to the madness there. That's awesome. No. You guys are awesome. I've enjoyed talking to you. I hope we get to do it again very soon. Okay.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jay. We really appreciate it.
And I'll let you know when we start homeschooling, how that goes. And
yeah.
But before then, I'll let you know how number 3 authors.
Definitely. Exciting. And I'll let you know how our number 3 goes. When will this?
Let me know too. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Let me know too.
Yeah.
When will this podcast be available?
It'll be a few weeks. I've got a few queued up to.
Really appreciate it. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you for sharing all of your.
Absolutely. Hey, you guys are awesome. I really enjoyed talking to you. Hopefully that this relationship continues to go forward, and you guys can educate me on some stuff, and I can tell you about homeschool and number 3.
You know, you're fostering an awesome community of people helping each other and being in the right mindset. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Anything you can do to help.
In real estate, I feel like there is no secrets. You know, everybody's I feel that everybody that I interact with never told me, oh yeah, I don't want to tell you about this because, you know, I want to keep it to myself. Nobody ever. Everybody's willing to help.
Which is awesome. I feel the same way. And it's such a different, I guess there are people out there that do that, but I haven't run into them yet. Or if I did, I didn't spend a whole lot of time around them. You know what I mean? Which is a transition from certain aspects of my current W-2 job, you know, which is, it's amazing how we're supposed to be a team and we're supposed to be pushing each other to do better and help the company. But in the real estate investing world, that exists almost everywhere, you know? So, but you're right.
More than one person, I remember when we had a lot of questions at the beginning, like they was like, yeah, of course I'll help you. I want you to be successful. And you believe them. Like they really do want you to be successful. Maybe in a month or 2, I'll bring them a deal because I don't know, like I got a deal. I don't know what to do with it. And they will help me to land it. You know, they'll get something out of it, which I'm happy to.
Yeah.
But people want you to be successful.
Yes, absolutely.
Abundance.
Guys, thank you very, very much. And I will talk to you soon, okay?
Yeah, have a great day. Thank you.
Thanks. See y'all.